Welcome to Spyder Auto's Step Bar Installation Guide for the Ford F-150 Super Crew. Before we get started, you'll need a 14 and 16 mm socket and ratchet. We've laid out the contents of your step bar kit here for illustration purposes. We'll start alongside the F-150. The brackets mount at the points indicated here. It's important to note that the tabs of your front and rear brackets must face inwards, as shown. Stepping underneath the F-150, locate the large square opening with two holes near the rear tire. Insert two nut clips over the holes as shown so that a bolt may be installed. Push the nut clip securely into place. Locate the rear bracket. Remember, the tabs must face inwards. Now locate four 14 mm bolts. Add a lock ring and washer to each. Install the two 14 mm bolts to mount the rear bracket. Leave these finger tight. Install a 14 mm bolt downwards through the bracket and body as shown. Add a washer. Then add a lock ring. Install a 14 mm nut onto the stud over the washer and lock ring. Leave it finger tight. Install another 14 mm bolt downwards through the bracket and body. Add a washer, then add a lock ring. Install another 14 mm nut over the washer and lock ring. Leave it finger tight. Moving down, locate the square opening with two holes behind the front tire. Insert two nut clips over the holes as shown so that a bolt may be installed. Push the nut clips securely into place. Locate the front bracket. The tab must face inwards. Now locate four 14 mm bolts. Add a lock ring and washer to each bolt. Install two 14 mm bolts into the nut clips to mount the front bracket. Leave these finger tight. Then install a 14 mm bolt downward through the bracket and body. Add a washer. Then add a lock ring. Then install a 14 mm nut over the lock ring and washer. Leave it finger tight. Install another 14 mm bolt downward through the bracket and body. Add a washer. Then add a lock ring. Then install a 14 mm nut over the lock ring and washer. Leave it finger tight. Now verify that the step bar is correct. Ensure that the mounting holes align. Now locate four 16 mm bolts. Add a lock ring to each bolt. Then add a washer to each bolt. Now install two 16 mm bolts to mount the step bar at this end. Then install two more 16 mm bolts to mount the step bar at the other end. Leave them finger tight for the moment. Take a moment to adjust your step bars as needed before we tighten everything. Tighten the four 14 mm front bracket bolts. Tighten the four 14 mm rear bracket bolts. After that, tighten the two 16 mm rear step bar bolts. And then tighten the two 16 mm front step bar bolts. Then just check that your step bars are tight, and you're done. Congratulations, you fitted your F-150 Super Crew with a set of step bars from Spyder Auto.